stronger mentality. Who can make the big plays count? Well, Bolden's lost out there. Granger, Garino! Oh, another! Still! You know.
How do you actually remember that moment, that coast-to-coast possession, when you started that freaking possession, you know?
Like yesterday. I remember exactly what happened, grabbing the rebound, dribbling the ball, and trying to put my body on the opponent and just leaping on the floor and being under the basket, just in total pain. Remember everything of that sequence, that day and the day after that they gave me the news. Everything is still pretty fresh, even though it's been a whole year, a year and 3 days. It still feels like yesterday.
So what happened to your knee? Do you remember that moment when you felt something?
Yeah, I actually felt a very tight punctuation on my knee, like somebody stabbed a knife on my knee, and the pain was there for like 5 minutes. But I got to walk to the locker room. In the locker room, my physio was in town. All the doctors from the team were there. My knee didn't swell up. It was normal. I was having a little trouble to put some weight on it, but we're still hesitant. They didn't want to make that decision, even though it looked like it was going to be the ACL. They didn't want to make that decision right away because they did some of the testings and they moved my knee and everything, and they weren't sure. But obviously the day after I got the test done and everything, and they confirmed what it was. So everything is pretty livable for me right now, yeah.
And 11 months later, you're wearing up Žalgiris jersey for the Mano žmona game in Pasvalys. Mm-hmm. What do you remember about the night before the game or the game day? How did you feel, you know, before stepping up on the court after such a long break?
I was very excited, super excited after that period of time of not playing, and with this weird situation going on in the world, my rehab process wasn't the one that I expected or nobody expected, because most of the months I was locked up in my home. I was in Victoria working out by myself with a few weights, so it wasn't ideal, but I got through it. I worked out pretty hard during the summer, and the night before I was psyched. I was super excited. I was really thankful to be in a place like this, like Žalgiris, with all everything that involves. Obviously, we can't have the fans, so we had them for a short period of time. But with the management or the infrastructure, everything was. I was really thankful for this situation. Obviously, they took a bet on me, knowing that I was still recovering. And that night, I was just thinking of having fun and recovering of those emotions that I used to feel a long time ago. And during the warm-up, I felt great. I had a few minutes that I was feeling great, and then a few minutes after, I drove baseline and I stepped pretty hard on my knee. I felt a little pop, so I was a little nervous of what was going on. And well, obviously, I had to get surgery again because of the meniscus, and the cartilage was a little damaged. But I still had fun. In those 5 minutes that I was playing, I had a lot of fun.
And you know, after that game, 10 days later, as you told, you had a surgery, and with the timeline, maybe till the end of December. Now we know that it's, you know, looked like a month-by-month situation. And you know, after going through such a difficult injury before, and even before you had some injuries, I remember in one interview, I was actually shocked that you considered the retirement even before the ACL. And you know, I'm thinking what it's like to start to go all over again. About this, you know, to survive that tough situation. Mm-hmm. Because from many people I talked to, they always repeated, "Oh, Patricio is a warrior. Patricio is a warrior." And I'm thinking, what kind of fight it is to fight against your body again?
It's not an easy one. Obviously, I think I learned a lot about myself, mentally and physically, all throughout these years. I was in Baskonia for 3 seasons, and I've never had a full season. Always had something. I broke my jaw my first year. Second year, I had a knee distress a little bit. Someone fell on my knee. And then last year, the ACL. So it wasn't easy. The year before the ACL, I actually was thinking of quitting because I came from college. I did 1 year in the G League and I played a few games in the NBA, but I didn't consider that professional games or team like Europe. So Baskonia was my first experience, and after 2 years of injuries, not really playing, trying to find myself on a team in Europe that is very different than the US, I was tired. I wasn't loving the game like I used to. It just became like a job that I hated, but I had to do it because I didn't know what else to do for a living, you know. So I really consider going home, but luckily my wife forced me to see a psychologist. It's something that I was thinking over the years. Actually worked with one when I was younger, but during all these times I was just very proud of myself and fighting that pride. You know, I always told myself to fight through it and get out of the situation by myself. But it got to a point that I just couldn't anymore. I wasn't happy. I wasn't enjoying my life. We're getting paid to do what we love, and I wasn't having that feeling anymore. So after I started working with the psychologist, my mind changed completely. That's when this summer we played with the national team in China, and that's the greatest I've felt ever, I think, physically and mentally, because I started seeing the game in a different way. You know, starting to recover those feelings when you're a little kid, that you have no pressure. Obviously now growing up and being a professional, you live with the pressure, no matter where you are or who you are, and that took the love away from me. And now with the ACL, like, I took it like a normal sprain of an ankle. It didn't hit me like that, even though I was gonna be out the longest in my career. I didn't feel it that way. Mentally, I'm very, very strong and I'm really happy with my life and what I'm doing. And now it's just a little setback. Obviously, a lot of people, I read the newspapers and friends talk to me and everything, and they're telling me, oh, you have bad luck, you're so unfortunate to have all these injuries. In my mind now is what happens. I mean, we're not playing chess. I'm not sitting in an office 8 hours a day. I'm playing basketball. It's a physical game. My game is not the skillful game. It's really with my body and my strength. And I'm obviously, there's a chance of injury all the time. And I'm assuming that. And now with this recovery, obviously, it wasn't easy. I had some dark times, but with the help of my family, my wife that was with me during the whole quarantine, my physio, my psychologist, this felt like a new adventure, you know, something to learn for myself, for the situation. I've learned the most about knees now, but it's something that makes you stronger, obviously. I was talking to some of the guys recently here from the team, and sometimes I'm not together with them all the time. You know, it's not easy for me to just sit on the bench and watch a full practice or watch a whole game, or when they're playing away, just sit on the couch and watch the TV. I'm not gonna deny it. Usually don't do it because it's really hard on myself. Last month I didn't see practice for a whole week. I was just staying. I wasn't home. Obviously, I was in the weight room training, but I was by myself, and I wasn't feeling. Seeing the suffering for myself, watching the guys have fun and play basketball, and just me sitting on the bench just clapping. It's not the funniest thing to do, but you learn through it. You know, you learn how to overcome those situations, and that makes you stronger every day.
Also, that kind of positivity and smile every day, you know, also helps you to be stronger. And when I talk to some people, they always say that Patricio is always about smiling, you know, about being positive, being a cool guy. What kind of lifetime situations, you know, build that kind of approach?
I think that's something that never changed with myself. Maybe a few times when I was in Baskonia that I wasn't really happy, but every other time it's just my character, my personality. I'm always happy and positive. I guess it comes from where I grew up, my family, my parents, and the team that I grew up playing with. Back home, we got to play and have fun together. We played from we were 6 years old to 17 that I left every year with the same guys, so they're like my brothers, and that carried out throughout my career. Obviously, I went to the US to follow a dream. I got a degree from a great college, and I had a lot of fun through that. And then I got to be in training camp in San Antonio. I went to the G League. I ended up playing with the Magic. I was always living a dream. Every year was step by step going higher and higher and higher. And obviously I was always happy and positive. And with the national team, it's the same thing. We play with the guys that we've been playing together against for most of our lives. So I don't think there's an excuse for me to be sad or crying. Besides these few situations that I had for a few months, I'm all about making jokes. I'm a jokester with the guys and everything. It's just, I don't know. I learned that a lot, that even though people think that we get paid a lot of money to play basketball, it's not always fun. You know, you travel a lot, you're away from your family, you have a lot of pressure to achieve some certain goals, and having someone that brings that joy and energy every day, I think is key for a team to survive through the good moments and not let yourself down too much. And obviously too, if you're doing very well, not to get so high up, because everything can be changed in 2 seconds.
How Žalgiris organization is trying to help you in this situation?
It changed my life, to be honest. I'm super thankful for this organization, for them to have an eye on me and recruit me and come here, even though I was in the middle of a ACL rehabilitation. It's a gamble that they took, and it's something that I'm gonna be thankful for the rest of my life, for them to take the chance without knowing if I was gonna be good or not. And especially now, knowing that I wasn't that good and I had to get surgery again, the way they behave with me and the way they supported me is really have a very special place in my heart, because they never put a bad face. They never this is a business. I talked to the coaches, I talked to management, I understood the process. When I had to get surgery, I told them if I need to go home, I go home. I understand it's nobody's fault, and they almost cursed at me when I said that, because they really wanted me to stay here and recover and start playing with the team. So I'm really thankful. It gives me chills talking about that, because it's really important for me. And obviously I'm very excited, and I'm really anxious now to play and give some help to the team.
Talking about that anxiety, you know, I believe that there are a lot of expectations around you. First of all, you have your own expectations to come back on the court faster. As we talked about the club, they're also, you know, in the end of the day, they expect you to play for what they paid. The fans, the family, everybody who supports you have their own expectations to see you on the court again. How to find the inner peace, you know, not to hurry up with all these expectations, not to rush yourself to desperately come back on the court.
Yeah, I think communication with the coaches and management is key, and communication with myself. They know that I'm recovering. It's been a long time that I haven't played an official game besides those 6-7 minutes a couple months ago. So they know what I bring to the table. They know that I'm a very defensive mind player, and that's what they want me to achieve right away. That I think is something that I could do. And they're not really worrying about anything else. The team needs someone like that gives them a little extra on the defensive end, and offensively they're doing really well. I think that anything that I can bring on that side is a plus to the team. obviously not speaking Lithuanian really helps me in canceling the noise from outside, what people expect from me. I'm really calm with myself that I came here to get better physically, and this year for me is not a year to come and prove that I can score 20 points a game and get 10 rebounds. That's not what I came here for, and that's not something that I prepared myself mentally and physically for. I came here to be physically 100% and bring that energy, that defensive mindset that the team and I think the whole club identifies with.
How it's to be so away from your comfort zone, starting from your own country, your home, and also Baskonia, where you spent 3 years. And to be fair, of course, Spain is much closer to Argentina and culture and the lifestyle. How it is like now in the COVID situation? Of course, you have your lovely wife and dog together with yourself in Kaunas. But is it hard to be so away from your, how to say, more common culture and the environment?
It's obviously tough, no matter if there's COVID or not. Maybe with the traveling restrictions could have been a little easier for people to come visit or go somewhere else. It hasn't been the easiest, but neither the hardest. I think the people here are really warm. It's something that we learn really quick. Obviously having a cute dog obviously helps come and get people to talk to you. But we're really surprised. We didn't know much about the Lithuanian culture, the food, the people. And they really surprised us, the way everybody is really close to you. They always try to help you on the street or at the supermarket, whatever it is. Everybody speaks perfectly good English, and that makes us feel really good. Obviously now with all the traveling bans and everything, I think it's been harder on my wife that hasn't really spoken to anybody or made a friend since we got here. For me, at least, I have the team, the guys and everything. But I'm a warrior, she's a warrior too, so we're really happy to be here.
How that daily, day-to-day regime looks out of a warrior perspective?
No, it's the same like everybody else. I mean, for me, it's that mindset of having that routine to get better physically and mentally. I do yoga in the morning. I've been going to rehab at the hospital, and I come here and I lift, I watch practice. I try to play with the ball a little bit as much as I can every day, and then soaking up the city, walking with the dog, and not anymore, but we like going out to eat to restaurants and see the different parts of the city.
I want to bring you back to that conversation about your feeling that you might go home. What do you remember the most? Did you have any expectations before coming through the GM's door,
It was tough. That was the year that I was coming back from the knee injury, and I had pulled my hamstring twice, and that was the second time that it happened. And I remember just leaving the arena in Baskonia and getting in the car like nothing happened, and then parking in the middle of the street and just crying for like 30 minutes. And called my wife from the car, and I told her like, we're going home. I can't do it no more. And obviously it was getting home with her and keep crying for a while and getting to talk to her. And she was the reason that I still play basketball. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's something that I've never really got to talk about yet. Too much. I always try to put it on the side, but she knows. And that was one of the worst nights.
Do you still have these, conversations with your wife, or as you said, you try to pull it away?
We talk about it. From that certain night, we talk about what happened and how we got to fight through it. But obviously now we put everything aside with the help of my psychologist, that he did an amazing job with my head. From that night, we just remember she was getting through it, and she tried to distract me, make some dinner, do something different. But we had an honest conversation about what basketball meant for me. If I really wanted to keep going and fighting through everything, injuries and good times, bad times, or if I was done. Even though I was young at the time, I was 26. It's really young for someone to retire at 26. It wasn't the end of the world. Basketball is not everything. There's a lot more in life than basketball. And she told me to sleep on it and think about it. If I really wanted to take that decision, talk to a professional and come up to a solution.
And this time in Kauno, when you, after the meniscus injury, you told that you believe that it will be normal if I will have to go home. What were your expectations before this conversation with Žalgiris, people about your future in the club?
I was honest with them. I mean, I didn't expect to get a second surgery here, and I told them I didn't come here to steal their money or their time or anything. They offered me the best help. Since I got here, I've been working out with Sigitas every single day, and with Tuti on the court, individually work. And obviously this was a major setback for me and for the team. They were expecting me to be on the court and helping, and I didn't know if they had different plans now with me getting surgery, if they were going to look for somebody else or not. And I was honest with them. I told them I accept any kind of consequences. This is not their fault or my fault, and I just brought it up as something in a grateful way, you know. I thanked them for everything that they did, and I understood the decision, because at the end of the day, it's a business, and I wasn't here to steal anything from anybody. I just wanted to be honest with them, and they looked at me with a funny face. I had a very long conversation with coach, and he told me not to worry about it because they wanted me back, and obviously that was a great relief for me, knowing that the club still wants me and is betting for me. It's something that motivates me every single day.
So in some way you were surprised by the reaction of the coach, right?
I don't know if surprised. I didn't know what to expect. I was just coming with an honestly.
Did you have your luggage packed before?
No, I didn't. I was just in case. You know, I didn't know what could happen. I talked to my agent the night before everything happened, and he told me, we don't know what's going to happen. It's their decision, and I told him I understand anything.
And you talked with the coach or the GM also?
No, I talked with coach, and he talked with the GM. Actually, we live really close with Palius, and I saw him a few days after, and he told me, you know, you're crazy, you're recovering here, and we need you on the court as soon as possible.
What do you think, what is the timeline, comeback, and how you're going forward to it?
I mean, it's coming along really well. But with this kind of surgery, obviously having a major surgery before with the ACL and now with the meniscus and a little cartilage, I don't think there's a exact time date for me to come back. Obviously, the goal is to be back by January, but there could be a few bumps on the road if the knee gets some liquid in it from working out, or if there is something that we need to stop for a few days that might make the wait a little longer. So there isn't an exact date, but by now the work has been really good. The knee has been evolving really well. All the swallowing went away, and now I'm just trying to get back the strength of the leg to start running again.
So you're back to the practice regime, watching the practices again?
Yeah.
And the hope is over there, near the baseline?
Yeah, I am now. I'm enjoying it.